All right, let's dive into it. Welcome, everybody, to Discussing Tabletop. Are you ready to dive into our interesting news stories for this week? It's, of course, July 26th. Reached the end of July. Isn't that nice? We're diving deep into summer as it is, you know? Gone through the middle of it.
Ready for the next, ready for the two hottest months? August and September?
Yeah, July hasn't been too bad for me, so I doubt August will be too bad either. All, I guess that like early on, temperature spike was the big thing I got around here, but who knows?
To be fair, I really don't know how it is other places around the country, but in California, August and September are the two hottest months.
I mean, I can kind of see that being comparable, at least August being really the hottest. I don't know if September would be comparable to July at that time, because I guess we being like, a little bit farther north, we tend to cool off a little bit by then, heading into fall.
Yeah, that's fair. Because like there's basically, if I'm gonna have like 100-degree weather, it's going to be either like mid to late August or early to mid-September.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like that range is generally the worst. And then obviously it doesn't actually hit like winter temperature, like I would consider winter temperatures until like late November.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's back to summer in like January. So that's California.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got some interesting things in the docket today. A lot of little topics here.
One was very interesting to me.
I mean, it's I saw a few that I may have stood out, but we should probably dive into it since we got a bunch to talk. So we'll start with I think the one thing I want to talk about, because we'll start with the hey, guess what? They're already doing the spoiler season for the Spider-Man Magic Gathering stuff, and Edge of Eternity is even like, I think it's out now. I don't know. It's feeling so ridiculous that like there's no time to breathe on any of these sets at this point in time, and
absolutely none.
Yeah, and this is kind of awful. I think the big thing to talk about with it is really there is some product that is already available. So there's going to be people that are already going to have cards from this. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to give this here. The welcome decks are available at Gen Con. Not Gen Con, Comic Con, which is going on now. So you can get the Spider-Man welcome decks right now if you are going to Comic Con. So, I mean, that still limits it. But they are like 30 card decks that introduce you to this kind of thing there. And I don't know, I'm like looking at what's the full stuff in here. But again, like, this is like interesting also, because when is this supposed to technically be its full release? Let me get the exact date of its release. September 26th. And there's going to be cards from this set floating out here today, over this weekend. So, I don't know. That's kind of a weird place to be, because I saw that they were talking about it being available. What was it? The Clarion College. They were doing some things because the professor was going to be at Comic-Con and was being, brought in with Magic, and was talking about like the welcome decks were available there, and I'm like, that's, I guess maybe it's limited, but still, like, and I guess like you have the product way ahead of time ready for these kind of things, but it does seem like interesting marketing. I guess Comic-Con's the right place to have these things, especially hey, Spider-Man, it's Comic-Con, it makes sense logically, but yeah. It's definitely like, of all the previews I've heard about for Magic where you can get cards early, this is one of the bigger ones, because it's a 30 card deck, you know? And
Yeah.
yeah. And it's 5 different 30 card decks. So that's like, that is a good chunk of the set being out there already. Even if it's not in huge supply.
It's supposed to be at local game stores as well.
Yeah. When though?
They did not say.
Are they available at local
They
game
just-
stores like now?
But it just takes you to a locator.
Yeah.
I mean, my local game store, who I am in their Discord, even though I've only been to their store like twice, just apparently was talking about how they got in a whole bunch of the Edge of Eternity stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they got Spider-Man stuff.
Like this stuff again, like, is the welcome deck because it is going to be available at Comic-Con. I guess it'll maybe limit. Also, just be welcome to.
Oh, where can I get the welcome decks? Available at WPN game stores when the set releases on September 26, 2025.
Yeah. Give a special PlayStation of Marvel set, more teaser, the 3 cards. I'm looking at another thing about their Comic-Con stuff, an article about.
Yeah.
It introduced.
So, yeah, they are.
And showed them.
They will be in game stores, but they won't be. I don't think they're going to be available online.
I'll have to look at the thing for what those little shorts that Declaring College had, because I swear that, like, he said that you could get some, I guess, in limited amount, but maybe I could have misheard, because it doesn't really say a lot about it other than being introduced there.
Maybe they were just introduced.
I could have misheard things, you know, I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Which
maybe they said, like, it will be available in limited amounts, you know, or something. Because it says nothing about Comic-Con here.
Yeah, and that, because it was probably like today kind of thing, you know, like that. Here, I'm gonna watch let me just see if I can watch a short with subtitles and not listen to it. You know, that's what I'm gonna do quickly. Yeah, I mean, like, a introductory thing is not necessarily a bad idea anyway. But it is a 30 card introductory, and I think that's the thing of, like, even if you're talking about standard, that is 60 cards tends to be the deck size you make. So we talk about like a 30 card one, that's kind of small.
I guess you combine 2 of them.
That's true, I guess you could. Magic Gathering, Spider-Man card reveals are dropping left and right. That's because the attendees. Sunday Comic-Con, we're going to Magic Gathering Slice of New York at Hard Rock Hotel, are picking up these brand new welcome decks. Okay, so if you go to their special event, you can get the welcome decks already. So he does say that. I was right. So, you know, you theoretically could pick them up, but it's not only going there, but going to their special event or something like that. So it might be limited supply, limited number of people, or maybe like you have to be invited even. I don't know.
Yeah. Apparently, also, if you there's going to be some kind of Spider-Man event where you can get one of the cards if you win a thing. It's a non-foil spectacular Spider-Man promo card with artwork. Yeah, so it's just. Oh gosh, this is gonna be one that's gonna sell for a bajillion, isn't it? Because I think it is. Let me see if this is.
Oh,
the same.
there's a special Comic-Con one. Oh yeah, no.
Yep,
The thing is,
it's different. than
promos
these.
like that always do get expensive because they're very limited run promos. Most Magic promos are like related to you go to an event at a local game store or a big event that they run across the country, like Grand Prix and stuff like that, or but like
But it's a
I have
Spider-Man
heard
card,
of
which
the previous Magic like special event like Comic-Con and Gen Con stuff.
yeah, but I mean, it seems to be a unique card because I feel like a lot of them are. I don't know. It depends.
It might be a version of a card that's in the set. I don't know, because I was looking
That's
a
the
little
thing.
bit at the
I just decided to look,
yeah.
and I didn't see it because like in the Spider-Man, it had Flash, and like quickly going through this, I don't see anything here with Flash.
Yeah.
Then again, it could be in the deck, in the set. Otherwise, just not one of these in the decks.
Yeah, I have only looked at a few of the spoilers. I did open the card image gallery, but I didn't really go through a lot of it. And I assume a bunch of these are in the welcome decks, is why you can kind of see them now. Yeah. So it's sort of like
Let me see if there is.
because I can link the card image gallery too, but I think these are pretty
Yeah, I'm
much
looking at it
just
right now.
the welcome deck stuff. I'll link it in chat though. So there you go, for people who want to see.
Okay, so there is one. Okay, so it is an alternate version of one. Okay, that's
Yeah.
in the traditional. It's going to be in the traditional packs, but it's not in the deck itself. It's not in any of the decks.
Okay. But again, like, there could definitely be, like, a Comic-Con specific version of one of these, which would be, it's kind of like anything that there's going to be less numbers of. It'll be expensive.
Yep. Okay. I was just worried because like I didn't see it in any of the other things, so I was like, okay, wait, no, but it is here.
Yeah. So, welcome decks. It's an interesting concept. It's interesting that there will be some of them out now. Yeah, I don't know. It's a kind of weird thing of like, there's a lot of. It's right on the heels of Edge of Eternities, which is kind of like just out, I think. And so, yeah. Oh no, Edge of Eternities isn't technically even out. It comes out this week. The pre-release is happening this weekend, probably.
Yeah.
So this is happening in the midst of the pre-release. That's why it feels so. It's Comic-Con. I understand. Great time for this, like perfect time for this. But it is just such a.
Yep.
It feels such a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, they were talking about their Sunday pre-release. That's what I mean by coming.
Yeah.
Out.
So, out. Spider-Man stuff. Out. I don't know what else to say. It's just a lot. Anyway, why don't we move on? It's neat. We're getting some stuff out in Comic-Con if you're there. So, didn't D&D do a Stranger Things before? Stranger Things thing before.
I feel like they did something. If not, Paizo might have.
I thought they did. Because it was like a little box set. And I think my brother got it for me because he was a big Stranger Things fan. And he was like, that's kind of neat. And maybe you'll do something, But they're doing another one. And I'm going to kind of put it this way. I'm like, yeah, Stranger Things on its last season. Stranger Things, I think, is not... I'm not saying it's not popular. It's not anywhere near the height of its popularity. And yes, it's kind of connected to D&D, but it's also like, it feels like you're a little late for this.
Stranger Things is still popular. I don't think this is too late.
Okay. I didn't know how popular it would still be considered to be.
It's not as tight, but it's still popular.
Probably enough for a second kind of set. Yeah. I guess it's supposed to be like it's a brand new product that includes 4 adventures that connect the first 4 seasons of the game. Okay, so basically they're doing like the first 4 seasons of the show had D&D going in during those times, and this is adventures related to each of those. Okay, that's neat. I'll give you that. That's pretty neat. So, and it's coming out right in front of the final season, so I guess that's also good timing for that. All right, I was kind of a little bit more skeptical, but as you're kind of like chatting with me and I'm like looking at it more, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's not terrible, but again, like, I guess, again, it's that weird thing of like, it's got good marketing timing, but again, I'm just not sure about the product and its, popularity overall. I don't know. Maybe it's good.
Yeah, there was a D&D Stranger Things starter set.
Okay, I was right. I thought I had gotten that. But I couldn't remember.
Funny is the place where I found it was Roll20.
Thanks, Roll20. So, yeah, maybe we'll chat a little bit more about it in October when Welcome to Hellfire Club comes out. Okay. So, there is some D&D PC titles coming back to being played on PC, aka they're updating them so they're playable on more modern systems. Dragon Shard and D&D Dragon Shard and Forgotten Realms Demon Stone. They're going to be restored, made, compatible with more modern things. They're both coming to Steam. That's good. And these are games I don't know a lot about because it's a time period that I didn't do a lot of D&D related games. Most of the ones that I either knew about or tested out were like the, I think I played, it might have been Baldur's Gate 2. One of the ones on PlayStation 2. There was a Baldur's Gate on PlayStation 2. Could have been Dark Alliance.
Yeah, 2005 for Dragon Shard and Demon Stone was 2024. Of 2004. So, not 2024, that would have been last year. 2004. So, honestly, yeah, so these were PC games, then I definitely didn't play it. Because
it wasn't that I wasn't playing
anyway.
PC games at that point in time, but I don't think I was doing a lot. So it's also like, yeah, it was on PC, different. Okay, so Dragon Shard is Eberron. And Demon Stone is story-driven action with Patrick Stewart, Michael Clark Duncan as voices. Interesting.
Yeah, Demon Stone is Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. I mean,
so interesting.
Yeah. No. Definitely, like, it would be interesting to check them out. Again, it's there is a lot of D&D video games. And there's a lot of history to that of the development of it. So that's like an entire thing. So. It's maybe something to visit at some point in time. I don't know. But maybe something to keep in mind. And it's going to come out in middle of August if you're interested in looking into those and seeing if you're interested in.
There's apparently a wiki page literally called list of Dungeons and Dragons video games. Although. Oh no, that's the licensing industry section. Like it needs to be updated. I'm like, oh okay. No.
I did end up throwing them into my wish list now in Steam just to check them out. Maybe, yeah.
Well, I did one of them. I didn't see the other one.
Because one's under Forgotten Realms, Demon Stone. So it's not under Dungeons and Dragons, which is weird because it is yet not under Dungeons and Dragons. It's a weird little trick of it. No, I guess Neverwinter Nights too. Enhanced edition. Can check it. Because I like Neverwinter Nights. When my Steam wish list gets over 100, I know I probably should cut some of them out of it. I'm like, I should cut some out there. I've reached that point in time, my Steam wish list. Yeah. They do look like interesting games, and it is from a decent time period. So it's not going to be like
it's not
up
too late
too old.
or too early.
Yeah, it's not going to be like as simple mechanics and graphics as you're like worried about for like if you're really going back to like the Gold Box series. The Gold Box series, you can feel its age if you're playing one of those kind of games, you know. This one, certainly speaking, it's a little bit more interesting and a little bit more up to date. But again, you check them out if you're interested in a little bit of D&D history. Counts.
There's a Dungeons and Dragons Chronicles of Mystara
Yes.
video game.
I believe the Chronicles of Mystara.
Exclusive to PlayStation 3.
Oh, I own that one. That is basically Golden Axe, but D&D. It is a beat 'em up.
Interesting.
Yes. It is actually
Put up by Capcom, so that makes sense.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty interesting game that came out.
I just found it interesting that it's in Mystara.
I know. I keep forgetting that one is in Mystara. I really do have to sit down and play that one at some point in time, because I do own it.
Yeah.
I think it
there's
also...
one in Spelljammer too. Pirates of Realm Space.
Mm-hmm. There are...
That was an MDOS game.
Yeah. I think a bunch of like the Gold Boss ones, Gold Box ones were all like MDOS games and stuff like that. So those are a lot of classics there. Like Pool of Radiance is the one that you've really like is the classic example of that style of game that was done back in the day.
Yeah, I'm 80% sure I've seen gameplay of Pool of Radiance.
Radiance is an interesting one. It's one of those ones that I'm like, it'd be interesting to replay, but I'm also like, man, it's the thing is, it's video gaming second edition, and I feel like second edition nowadays is played best when you got a DM that can, you know, understand the rules more, and a computer doesn't do that.
Who can adjudicate things to not instantly kill you for the dumbest thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you failed your death. You failed your. It's like, oh, this ability says you make a death save, and if you fail, you die. Have fun.
Exactly. It's sometimes when you've got like again, I think that's a problem that I saw a lot of times in the two Pathfinder games by Alcat, because they are very much so. It's Pathfinder First Edition still has some brutality to it, and in a video game format, you're just dealing with that crap. You can't really do much about it. It's like, oh, well, I'm dead. Great. Save or suck.
I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. So, yeah, no, it's interesting to see these older games coming back more. I enjoy looking at the history of D&D this way in a lot of this material, and a lot of these games are fun. Yeah, are any going to complete capture? None of them are going to be Baldur's Gate 3. I think I should say that to people out there who might be interested in checking them out. You're never going to get that kind of like true essence of Baldur's Gate 3, and you might not even get like a true D&D experience the way you think you can get it by playing the game. You're going to get a little bit essence of that. You can usually get some interesting stories and honestly mechanics that are close to what D&D of the time was. So that would be, you know, third, fourth, AD&D, depending on whenever you're diving into these games. Will be depending on the, you know, equivalent system that you're looking at. So if you're interested in checking them out, I do recommend it. You know, these are new ones, a little bit more in the middle, so just, yeah. Okay, so here's something that I wanted to talk about because it's an interesting look from Hasbro. And Hasbro has been talking about IPs for Universes Beyond, and they're particularly looking at certain IPs that appeal more to female players. And they're going by this by romance fantasy, okay, cool, and K-pop. I really don't think they understand anything. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the romance fantasy, I think that's fine. Fantasy type settings, I think, or anything that has an essence of fantasy, I think works pretty well as within the themes that Magic does a lot of times. It's a Magic-based game. You know, you can do sci-fantasy, like, or like neon punk, like, you know, Kamigami and Dynasty does. Edge of Eternities is doing, sci fantasy. Those work in Magic. So I can see a romance fantasy kind of IP working, thematically. I like it when Universes Beyond thematically work. I'm not gonna lie, it feels like more appropriate. But like, K-pop? Really? That's just musicians. It's just musicians.
That's just boy bands.
It's just boy bands.
But honestly, boy bands are super popular for young women.
But in Magic cards, like, it feels weird because it's real people.
Hatsune Miku.
I know, but it's the thing is, every time they do real people, it feels a little weird. Because Jeff Goldblum's a card.
Yeah.
Granted, it was
Post Malone.
Yeah.
He's also a card.
I mean, a lot of these are, though, like, reskins, and I get the feeling that these would not be reskins. Because it's, it's looking to go directly into Universes Beyond. Again, like, here's the thing. I don't think anybody at Hasbro understands what anybody thinks alike, let alone people that are female. They don't understand what men think. They understand what no one thinks. They don't understand what Magic players think.
They understand what numbers think.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Because I think they're going to learn the wrong lessons from Final Fantasy. I think that's the problem. True. They are going to learn all the wrong lessons from Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy worked because it was the perfect juxtaposition of a combination of collectors and, good mechanics and good storytelling in card. So it met with the fans who then wanted to get these cards to collect them because it's based on their favorite characters, but also then they were maybe interested in trying and playing the game because it was interesting mechanics in the cards. I don't know if they can continue. Again, like, I'm not saying, like, looking at the Spider-Man set, looks okay from the cards I've seen. But again, like, it's not gonna capture the same fire there. There are Spider-Man fans, sure. There are Magic players who are Spider-Man fans, cool. I don't think that many, like, there's a lot more random Final Fantasy fans out there than there are random Spider-Man fans out there that are going to buy this on the collector side of things. I don't know. It's the wrong lesson, and I think, like, hearing what they're looking about and being like, yeah, female players, more stuff what they want, and I'm like, I don't know if this is what they want. Are you actually talking to female players? And I think to myself, and I'm like, I don't think they are. I don't think they are.
I'm honestly trying to find out what romanticy even entails.
I can picture what it would be, a romance fantasy.
Same.
But yeah, what is a specific IP that would classify as a romantasy that also wouldn't have enough fantasy and interesting things that wouldn't be more appealing to everybody? Is there specifically some kind of romance fantasy that is very much more female-oriented than male-oriented that stand out? I'm sure there are, but are they big enough IPs?
It was the last line that stand out that I was like, oh wait, hold on, I spoke too soon.
Yeah. But again, like, are there big enough IPs that qualify under this? That, because there's a lot of, like, various, like, fantasy things that do have a huge romance to them that I'm going to be honest, that work just fine as, like, I would enjoy them because of the fantasy aspects of it, I kind of say it a lot, like, I don't necessarily mind romantic stories, especially if it's done well. And, if it's a romance story on its own, fine, those aren't the thing I'm a fan of. But when you're doing, like, a genre piece of something like a fantasy that happens to be very romance-driven, I don't mind those things. Like, you think about, like, they did Princess Bride. Princess Bride, yes, it's a comedy, but it's a romantic comedy that's also kind of fanciful.
Yeah.
And that's a grand movie that, like, anybody can love. And it is very heavily a romance, movie, too. So movies like that, or IPs like that, appeal to a lot of people. So, again, I don't know. I don't know what they're looking into. it seems like, again, they're just learning the wrong lessons and going in, like, stupid directions. I don't know.
Just trying to find if there's anything. Okay, notable examples. Okay, this has come up a few times. A Court of Thorns and Roses.
I've heard of that by name, but I don't know a lot about it.
I've seen it in Audible.
That's like one of those ones that I hear that name and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I've heard that name. Court of Thorns and Roses. I don't know a lot
Throne
about
of Glass.
Again, it's the thing is, are there any, like, sizable IPs that would have a decent fan base that fall under that? And it does not sound like there is, so I don't know.
They're pretty much all books, which doesn't lend itself to a card medium, because most of the stuff they take for card mediums are movies, TV shows, etc.
Yeah,
or comic books.
They use things that have possible adaptations that kind of push away in a bigger visual medium.
Oh gosh!
And then they bring in
apparently Twilight counts. So,
well,
so does Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay, but Buffy's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But the movie and the TV series. I did like the movie, but the TV series, they're different reasons.
Well, specifically the TV series.
I know. Movie was more comical.
Oh, is this what I think it is? No.
Tarkir Dragonstorm was pretty successful. I'm glad about that. I think that's the other thing too. It's like seeing that it was a pretty big seller. I'm glad about that because I was worried because like I'm someone that doesn't. I usually like towards the end of the year will buy maybe if I'm gonna get any packs like boxes I'll like buy a box or two of like some sets that were out the year, and seeing that was successful reassures me that like yes, Final Fantasy lightning in a bottle, but they're not going to go away from things like their in-universe stuff since Dragonstorm was successful enough to like be there. I'm glad, but I'm also like yes, you're getting record-setting sales. You're going to be learning the wrong lessons from these. No, I don't see you, the way you talk. You are already seemingly learning the wrong lessons. So, romance fantasy and K-pop magic.
Yeah, I mean, K-pop makes sense to me. Honestly, if they are thinking, I guarantee you they're thinking Twilight when they say romantasy. I didn't really think.
I guess like
I didn't really think modern fantasy when I thought romantasy.
I guess like K-pop and like Secret Lair. I'm not like that one because you could go from like individual like groups and something for a Secret Lair. I can see that, but like as a concept, I just don't see it for like a larger set. I don't know how you do that.
I can understand trying to get women into your medium, but at the same time, you do it by not ostracizing women, which is kind of something that happens in a lot of collectible card game mediums.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a male-dominated thing.
I mean, like, even so, Magic's got a 30% female player base according to Wizards, which is not a bad player base.
Which I think is higher than a lot of other things.
Yeah. I feel like the casualness of Commander helps a lot by this. And I don't think Universes Beyond helps on that. It's like your casual format that like everybody loves, that's very easy for anybody to get into. Turns out, that like leads people into it very easily. Just saying. We'll see. Guess we'll see.
Let's see. Yu-Gi-Oh is 13% female.
13?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Pokemon, I would think would be a pretty high one, like equivalent.
There's not a definitive percentage for Pokemon that I'm able to see.
No one's taken a good look at it.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's the thing. Yeah, apparently in board games it's a lot more split, like board game communities.
Yeah,
it's like pretty close to 50-50.
I think it's the kind of thing is that we've seen like with 5e D&D, it's been a lot more split community. Like I think it used to be like D&D and a lot of role playing was a lot more male dominated, and like, you know, back in the early 2000s, I could definitely feel that. You know, it's one of my out of my large friend group, there was only 2 girls, the rest of us were guys, and it was like maybe like a dozen of us. So there wasn't a lot of like female representation as much. And I feel like it's becoming a bit better, percentage, but, you know, especially again with 5e and introducing a lot of stuff, and, you know, the better focus on the actual storytelling and role-playing aspect of it, I think appeals to everyone. Interesting to see some
Pokemon, there's apparently like actually a movement going on. Maybe this is why there wasn't like an immediate answer, where like women in the Pokemon fan base, Pokemon trading card fan base, are trying to get more women into the Pokemon fan base. That's how you fucking do it.
I can see that, yeah. So, I mean, very interesting. Kind of interesting discussion that we kind of like went into there with kind of diving into this little aspect.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you don't just put out things that appeal to women. Like, that has never worked in the history of any IP.
Yeah. And when a man named Chris Cox is talking about this at the head of a conference, which is probably, there might be a woman in there, but it's probably pretty male dominated. I do not feel like, yeah, no. I don't feel like they're making great decisions for this. I feel like they're just like, these things appeal to women. Let's make stuff based on them. And I just put my hands in my face, and I'm just like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Interestingly enough, in like high school and like early college, women in Pokemon seem to be about 50%. But if you go older, then it drops off.
I think because, again, like, it's CCGs and tabletop related stuff was a lot more male dominated about 20 years ago, and it's become a lot more for everyone, just in the nature of the evolving sphere of influence from everything from, you know, the large board game renaissance that we had post things like Carcassonne, Settlers, and all those, and a lot of Euro games when they came over and gained a lot of popularity, and we got a lot of new players, and things like 5e, you know, and the evolution of Magic. All these things have allowed a lot more players of all genders to come in, but it has been an evolution and kind of a change. So definitely I see in the older crowd, it being still a lot more numbers based upon that, you know.
Yeah, and this actually makes sense, because when you do movements, like I mentioned, the Pokemon, like, trying to get more women into it through, like, their actual fan bases, rather than, like, at a corporate level, that would appeal to the younger generation, generally. Usually, you get, like, influencers affect the younger generation. Like, if you think about, like, you know, the popular, like, you know, Mr. Beast or whatever, who's, like, what, like, 35? You know, but everyone who likes him is, you know, 16.
Mm-hmm.
How old is Mr. Beast?
That I don't know.
27. That is a lot younger than I thought.
Yeah, you know, it's look, you know, it's interesting when you hear about like some of the like old guard talking about things, you know, and I'm people like, you know, like,
but still, he's affecting
people around my age.
Yeah,
like,
but he's
like,
being popular. He's
when,
popular with people, you know.
when I hear about, like, I was watching another podcast earlier, and one of Jesse Cox's ones, and he was talking about, like, he's remembering, like, going somewhere in the late 80s, and I'm like, yeah, we're close in age, me and Jesse. It's because I can remember stuff in the late 80s, barely. But, I was young then, too. So it's like, yeah, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. And that's the old guard, like, granted, he started doing stuff online a lot earlier than me, but it's like, it's that same kind of old guard mentality that, like, we are of a different generation to a degree, even 5 years off, like, and so, like, I saw a lot of this evolve the nature of the, gaming sphere. And again, like, it's that thing of, I see these people in charge of these places, and I'm like, you guys don't understand anything. Like, I half understand it, and I can confess, I half understand it. I half understand it because I lived through a lot of it and watched a lot of it, and chatted with a lot of people. Like, I had female friends who played Magic and Tabletop and D&D with us in, the early 2000s. And I know the kind of environment it was for them from conversations with them, and I know how it's a lot better for them now, and understanding that kind of thing and in the evolution of this is important. And I don't think they're looking at it that way. They're looking at it the dollar signs.
Anyway, but I guess a way to put it is like, yeah, you tend to like aim at the younger generation when you're trying to get people into your fan base. It's a slow progression.
Yep.
But I don't think just, like throwing something in. Yeah. But it seems like okay. The quickest thing I could find, I don't know if this is correct, but yeah, apparently most of the people who watch his videos would be like under 10. So yeah, if you think about it, so it doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so here's something you're going to be really interested in. I know.
Yep.
Because it's Starfinder and Warframe together for the first time.
I'm gonna have to run this adventure. Okay, we're gonna.
Operation Orius. So
I'm gonna be honest though, it fits. It fits. I think Starfinder and Warframe fit very well together.
It's an interesting thing that, like, you as a player who's played Warframe, and then, like, me understanding the basics of, like, how the sci-fi system works in Pathfinder, it's fascinating that, they fit well together. Because that thing tells me, weirdly enough, Pathfinder fits in it too. Because it's one of those things is, like, I saw someone talking about this, and they were like, they were very excited for Starfinder, because Starfinder is completely compatible with Pathfinder 2. Starfinder 2.
Now, yes.
Yeah, now. They are, again, different things entirely, but mechanically, deep at the core, it is exactly the same core system.
Yeah.
Which makes them 100% compatible with each other. You can pick up something from one and play it in the other perfectly fine.
Here's the thing, it wouldn't really work for Pathfinder, more for a setting reason.
Yes, well, I think that's the thing, the person was talking about, like, if you're doing, like, actual Starfinder stuff, you could be, like, because aliens have crashed on Galarian before, you could be, like, one of the weird alien species, you've crash-landed on Galarian, what's this weird backwater planet I had to survive on, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's a weird story, but you could do it. The Warframe stuff, yeah, it's a different universe, and, you're
pretty everyone is pretty much human, like, there's... Okay, there are... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm gonna say 5 factions. Tenno, which is the Warframes. Then you've got the, and I'm not talking about the factions in game; those are different. Because there are factions in the game which also are their own thing. But then you got the Tenno faction, the Corpus faction, the Grineer faction, why am I, I'm so blanking on names right now. Like I want to say Orion, but that's not right. It's
You've gone beyond my knowledge, so I can't help you on this one.
Orican. That's what it is. And then the last one are the Sentients. So those are basically the factions. I don't know. Okay, I haven't played recently. The proto frame thing that they're doing right now is a whole thing where there's a whole back in time thing. Fun fact: Starfinder has, or not Starfinder, Warframe has time travel.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Anything that touches time travel kind of becomes nonsense. So apparently there's an invasion, I think, into the past that now, like, proto warframes from the future, but before the future that you're in right now, in the main part of the game. So before them, like, are going back in time, I think, to try and stop Grenier and stuff from trying to take over the past.
Yes. Look, I just saw the perfect the perfect like explainer for Warframe that I heard from some people were, so the big thing is, it is one of those things that, like, so the people were talking about the big event they had that they announced things that they're like, yeah, we can't talk about that because it would spoil stuff for you, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. But also, like, it's like someone just like, it feels sometimes when they're putting out stuff that they just have a dartboard with some suggestions that they're like, they throw some darts at, so they're like, skateboarding, open world, cool, we're doing that this year, or fishing, Dark Souls, great, Dark Souls fishing.
Well, technically the Dark Souls game is another game that DE is putting out, so that's a different
one. I did see that one, that's why I wanted to talk about that one briefly. But again, like, yes, it feels like it's a weird thing that they just I don't think they're really dartboarding it, but they come up with ideas and just do a lot of them in the games. There's a lot of stuff on top of the incredibly strange storylines, on top of the storylines that you don't get spoiled, because the community actually is really good at self-censoring themselves, which is a fascinating thing of not spoiling people.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, what I said might make sense, but honestly, I think that's actually one of the reasons why it's really easy to not spoil Warframe, and that is to explain it requires you to explain everything.
It's basically, you said, like, there's a time travel storyline involving future and past people, and I'm like, cool, great.
There's not just one time travel storyline.
I'm sure.
There's like 4.
You're explaining like 2% of everything you need to know to understand what the hell is going on.
There's literally a whole thing where there's like an adult version of a person and a child version of a person who work together to beat things.
Anyway, so you can play it in Starfinder.
I'm gonna have to run this. Also, I think this is a sign I'm gonna start playing Warframe again tomorrow. I haven't played in like a year.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's long enough for like new updates and stuff. I guess they just announced a bunch of new updates.
They did. I mean, yeah, they're honestly, I've been paying attention to the update. That's why, like, I know this. So this came out within the time frame I've been away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, I know about it because I still keep up with the news at least.
Yeah. So, again, like, if they've made everything work with it, cool. I definitely, like, am interested because this is 4 proto frames sent to spy in the Corpus facility of Orion's. Again, this is like, these words mean nothing to me, but I'm sure, like, yes, if you play Warframe, you're like, cool. I know what that is.
I don't know Arius, but I do know proto frames and Corpus.
Okay. So it's basically
Corpus are literally people who worship profit and money.
Okay. So it's like it's basically your spies on some kind of, like, corporate kind of organization on a planet. All right.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're literally a money religion.
Gotcha.
And the proto frames are basically like the versions of the warframes which had superpowers before warframes were made. And that's the thing, like, warframes are like mass-produced versions of like super soldiers who I think existed before, something like that. I don't actually know. 100%.
Okay, so you're kind of playing like it's going to be a storyline where you're playing like precursors to what would be the quotation modern day in the Warframe setting. You know, that you're like people
Yes.
playing with like ancient
Here's the
versions.
thing.
But of course, time
Here's the
travel,
thing.
so you could have just thought of time travel.
Well, here's the thing. The proto frames, the adventure that includes the proto frames in like the game and like the stuff they do there. And I say adventure, but it's like there's usually a plot line that introduces it, and then you can go back to it whenever you want. That's more of a game thing. But the plot line that introduces it, fun fact, the proto frames are in 1999. They go back in time to 1999.
90s.
Yeah. Actually, one of the funniest things is the thing that kind of leads into this is like there's just a there's like a computer that just does the dial-up sound and like a part that introduces this. It's so great. All the 90s kids freaked out at that.
Yeah, no, like, you know, it's a horror that still haunts us to this day. For those of us that encountered internet in the 90s. You know, trust me, it's a thing we will never forget, of having to have the dial-up sound and being like, you know, go to your parents and be like, I need to use the phone because I need to use the internet for a while.
Yep. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So Warframe, it's gonna be with it. Gen Con is, I guess, when they're going to be demoing it. And I assume then they will probably have it out and available somewhere. Let me link to the box.
Well, it's coming. It's coming out in October. It's available October 31st.
Do we it's $9 for the physical. They don't have it listed for the PDF yet. I assume they'll probably But $9 for physical. So that's not too bad. Again, it's still a small standalone adventure made for 4 to 5. Oh no, it is $9 for the full PDF. So it's a 1 or 2 session adventure, basically.
Yep. I'm gonna plan to run this when it comes out. We'll have to.
If you need to play, I'll try it out. You know, I don't know anything about Warframe, so I'll be like, I don't know.
I don't think you'll have to, but
that's good.
We'll see. I highly doubt they're going to make it so highly specific, lore-wise, that you're gonna have to know about Warframe. Everything I explained is complete nonsense. Like it has, like that's the thing. You only need to know what's going on in the moment, and the idea that there are corpus and proto frames, which are basically just people with superpowers, is about all you need to know.
All right, so cool. Let's continue. I don't even know if we'll get to a deeper discussion. We're already like an hour in, and we're not even halfway done these. We have just been diving into a lot of stuff a lot more in depth, which is fine.
It depends. We might speed up on things.
Yeah. So, Monster Menagerie 2 is out. This is the Monster Menagerie book that was done by Level Up, particularly for Level Up Advance, or not Level Up. I think it is.
You mean Tales of the Valorant?
No, Level Up Advance 5e that does it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's Level Up Advanced and Tales of the Valorant. Those are the 2 5e clones right now.
Yeah. So this one was originally, I guess, for more probably 5e, but there was a Level Up Advance at the time for it. So this is back from 2021. And I remember hearing about this, that it was like one of the big monster books that you could get at the time, and it's probably one of the better monster books. This is another one. You can use it for 2014, 2024, and Level Up Advanced 5e. So it's completely, again, all these systems are kind of compatible with each other anyway, I assume, so you can use it with all of them. They get a free chapter intro, new stat block features, a lot of features and enemies, horde monsters, so a lot of, and heroic monsters too. So a lot of interesting concepts they're kind of exploring, which does help a lot to like add a lot of variety to your monster types. Hey, guess what? I give that a thumbs up all the time when you get like variety to your monster types. It's again one of those things that I always complain about. I always complain about with 5e in general, either version of it, that they didn't have enough monsters. You know, it's one of those things that I'm like, I really enjoy. I have those options in Pathfinder 2e. Granted, like a lot of times nowadays, a lot of them are legacy. You can just use some of those legacy ones. Have a lot. You have options. You can be creative.
Yep.
So books like this are big thumbs up for me, and there are people that did a really good job last time, so it sounds like they've done another interesting bit here.
Yep.
So.
Ooh, yeah, these are a lot of cool monsters. I just bought it.
I was just looking at the full monster list and looking at it a little bit because they do deal with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, legendary monsters, elite monsters, heroic monsters, and horde monsters are the horde monsters are minions. Are minion type enemies.
Yeah, level up. I'm pretty sure has had minions from their first book.
Okay. And heroic are like
that.
I guess are like you could have monsters that are like NPCs that will level up with your characters. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. So that I think that was also something I saw previously. It's basically for a reoccurring enemy.
Oh, so it's the heroic monsters are more reoccurring enemy that they kind of come back and fight you a couple times.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
I assume you could probably use that also for like more allies or enemies, but they would like match your PCs for power level though at least to a degree.
Probably.
And then elite ones, that's cool, and legendary for like solo powerful bosses. Again, a lot of cool ideas that they're kind of going through, and it is a heck of a monster list here. Just looking at it. Moves in so slowly for me. Just trying to like scroll down to the higher CR. They do have some higher CR things, which are also good too. Looks like their highest one is 28. Cool. And templates.
I do like also level up advance does actually give you like it gives you a bit of tactics for the monster, which is super nice.
Yes, I agree. Whenever you have an idea of like something's tactics to a degree, that is the best monster things. It at least gives you an idea of how they should be fighting. I mean, like,
yeah.
The only other thing is if they don't do that, you hope that their stat block tells you enough for that, and that's sometimes the thing that I do complain about for like when we're doing some of the stuff for Pathfinder 2. I'm like, what's these guys supposed to do? There's a couple of times where I'm like that.
Yeah, like Archlich, CR26. The Archlich casts Maze and Disintegrate early in combat. It reserves Power Word Kill to finish off wounded combatants. It uses Reserve Gravity to keep multiple melee attackers at a distance. In melee, it makes Touch of Death attacks, expending spell slots to boost damage. With legendary actions, the Archlich can cast low-level spells like Greater Invisibility and Cone of Cold, and use Malign Transposition when pinned down. When reduced to 100 hit points or fewer, the Archlich casts Plane Shift to escape.
Cool. They're like, this thing doesn't want to fight to the... And it's like, it doesn't want to fight to the death. It makes sense. It's like, you're like,
I mean, that's super... as a GM, that's super helpful information. Like, this is how when designing the monster, this is kind of the idea we had for what it would use its abilities for.
Yeah.
That's super nice.
Yeah. Definitely. It's one of those things. Is like I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I don't know if I'm just gonna do 2014 or like some kind of hybrid. I do want to revisit 2014 for some things because there's definitely some types of adventures I want to run. That's just so much better for using 2014-ish rules.
I've already resigned myself to. I'm probably never gonna bother with D&D proper again. I'd rather go to like something like Level Up and then edit from there because like here's the thing, like let's talk about them. Yeah, Level Up and Tales of the Valiant are the two big 5e variants right now.
Yeah,
Tales of the Valiant is Kobold Press, and then Level Up is Ian Publishing.
I was just thinking because like there are some like one shots I had ideas for, or like like one or two adventure kind of things, and those are much easier with something like a 5e type. Those because it's a lot easier to throw those characters together and stuff like that.
I think the design structure of 5e is still very solid.
Mm-hmm.
My big issue with 5e is more just that, like, honestly, overall, I do think 2024 is an improvement. Overall.
I agree.
I just think that it's very clear there was some rush. It's very clear that certain things just weren't ironed out properly.
it's kind of clear that, like, again, I doubt this is on the designers and the people that were working on it. It's probably more on the upper management. I kind of agree that it should just been like a one book update in some ways, like, or maybe 2-book update, a 1 combo player's guide DMG, and then just the updated monster manual, because like the monster manual, it is a lot more tiny updates here and there. I think for that one at very least, you know.
I still think the player's handbook deserved its own. I still think everything kind of deserved a new book. It's just, yeah. I just also not like.
It's kind of hard when you're republishing something that there's updates, but just is there enough updates for someone that owned the old book? And like, you know, for someone that's new to it, I'm sure it's still really great. But again, like, I don't know. It's an argument probably either way.
Well, that's the thing. Like, most things have changed. I would say it's like 60% different. So it's hard to say that like the core rules are the same, but classes and abilities are all different. Then you've got like the DMG, which really just restructured itself to be way better. That one and it's got a couple new sections. Granted, there are some things which are just stupid, like oh, we've set up rules for pricing items. No, you fucking didn't.
It's like, you guys want a stronghold? No. Great, you have a stronghold now. Cool. That's big.
Okay.
It's critical to your game.
I think for long-term campaigns, strongholds are a very good.
I'm not gonna lie that there's definitely a good use for it, but I think they were pushing that very heavily, and I think that is useful in certain types of games, but not all of them. And I think that was what I felt was like, kind of like, why are you pushing this when, yeah, I play games a stronghold is wonderful in, or we've used something like that. But I've definitely played a lot of games where you really wouldn't have one, or it wouldn't fall under the rules you're using. Like, I've done a couple of sailing games that were like sailing adventure games. Sure, we could use our boat as a stronghold, but the kind of stronghold rules that are in that book, having looked over them, would not apply to those boats. Yeah. You have to come up with something on your own. And we kind of did, you know. But again, that's that kind of comparison, is like, we did have a stronghold, it's just it was a different kind of thing entirely than what your rules would allow. And, yeah, I don't know. Again, it's a good book.
Yep.
And if you do, like, again, as you said, Level Up Advanced, Tales from Valiant, any kind of, like, 5e adjacent, it's probably going to be either fully compatible with or compatible with a little bit of adjustment, you know. This one definitely, because it is particularly under the Level Up Advanced people, I think it's going to be most directly easiest with them, you know. But, you know.
Yep.
The 5e adjacents could still be compatible.
That's the thing. You could use this with 5e. It's fine. Like,
yeah, they say that, yeah. So, if you're interested in a lot more monsters, say what, like another 300-ish more, you know, hey. And it's not just the same things.
Would you like as many as one book, and now you have a second one?
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about some classic animation meeting an RPG. So at Comic-Con, they announced that there's going to be a Thundercats RPG. That's going to be coming to Kickstarter soon. This is definitely a series that I didn't see till it was either late 90s. I don't know if it was either Cartoon Network or Sci-Fi Channel was showing some reruns of it, and it was fine. It was interesting. I know they've had some attempts to revitalize the series. It's a weird series, and like, you don't realize, spoiler, it's set on a weird, like, apocalyptic future Earth, where I guess humans are dead, but there's a lot of other successor races on it or something like that, that are intelligence, like robot bears, and, you know, I guess the only human's the Mummy, which is like the evil supervillain, because I guess, like, him and his people or something try to conquer the world. I don't know. There's a lot to this world that's weird, and I assume they might be using just from looking at it, probably the classic form of things, but I don't know if that's true or they're going to use one of the newer versions.
Yeah.
So, the classic was a weird sci-fantasy, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like they're using the classic, just based on everything I'm seeing here. But
again, they've redone a lot of stuff, so it's hard to tell 100%, you know. So, yeah, you know, I think it's fine. More, again, it's one of those ones where I like, when I hear about it, I'm like, it's an interesting enough world to use for an RPG, because it has a developed world that they've done through the various shows and other like comic books and stuff. I'm just curious how they adapt it mechanically on that side. I think that's the important thing for when they adapt a lot of these settings. How do they mechanically adapt them? I think that's usually a critical thing to make them how good or bad they are. Yeah, the Kickstarter page doesn't have a launch date yet, but you can check it out from the link there if you are interested in following. Again, like,
yep.
It's another on that list of like IPs that I'm like, yeah, I'd try it if someone wanted me to. I don't know if I'd run it, but I'd try it. You know, I kind of like.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I definitely want to watch Thundercats at some point. Definitely on that.
The classic
long list of things that
the classic one is pretty good. It's definitely. I don't know, because again, it's me watching it in reruns. I don't know if there was like an order that you should have watched it in. Like in this like syndication in the late 90s. You know, so it's hard to say where exactly, you know, they did it. There was a lot of interesting storylines that happened in that, and like I could not remember all of them if you were, but there was like an essence to it that was very neat, and there was a lot of interesting storytelling that was, and character development that did exist in it, which is, you know, for something that was probably originally late 80s, early 90s, you don't always get that.
Yeah.
I'm also curious what happened in the comics, you know, because that's apparently going to be part of the storytelling they're doing for this too. So again,
yeah,
it's one that's interesting. Kind of maybe keep an eye out on it. You know, it's on. There's plenty of these like games like this that are on a list of like, maybe some point in time I'll try it. There's another one of those on that list. On the maybe at some point in time I'll try it. There's like 100 games on there at this point in time.
So, yeah.
Some of them I try. Not all of them, but sometimes I pick something off of that list.
Eventually, I'll start that thing that I've been thinking about. Anyway,
yeah. So hey, you know, Comic-Con, as I said, Comic-Con is giving us some tabletops things, even though it's not a lot of it. We are getting a couple things over this weekend. Might get some more before tomorrow. So, this is a weird side tangent, but I guess it counts because it's that whisper down the line. This is not quite the same, but it makes me feel of the Street Fighter, the movie, the video game, because we're getting Critical Role video games. Because Critical Role is a D&D campaign, you know, but it's based on the campaign and the story of it, and we're getting video games based on that. So mechanically, is it going to fit in with like a role-playing game like D&D, or is it going to be something different? It doesn't need to be, because it's based on a setting, and the setting is technically not D&D. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's adjacent enough. Anyway, they're working on some video games. I'm curious as to what kind they're going to be doing. Because they're doing a lot of stuff. More animated series, more tabletop stuff, more merchandise. What kind of game? It's early in development. So it does look like the company they're working with. Oh, they're working with the people that just put out Dispatch, the superhero workplace comedy game. I've heard about this one. It wasn't on my list of like indie game or games to check out, but I did see it and it looked at least vaguely interesting. So if it's a narrative choice kind of based game, that'd be kind of interesting for a fantasy setting, especially something that's like heavily with Critical Role. But I guess I don't know if there's action elements to that. So I don't know.
I mean, it depends. Like, that's the thing. Like, just because. Let me see what other stuff that these people have done. Ad Hoc Studios. Oh, Dispatch is the only game they've done so far.
Yeah, Ad Hoc Studios. I guess it's a new one there, and they're working on apparently multiple projects, including the one set in Exandria, which I guess is the Critical Role setting. Okay, so yeah.
Oh, Dispatch isn't even released yet, according to
It's coming out.
Steam.
It is coming out soon, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I've seen stuff on people. I think what I saw was they had like, didn't Steam have that like thing where you can do a bunch of like, not trailers, not promos. Oh my God, work in my brain. The word I'm looking for, the video game. Play it before the game. My brain just isn't working right now for the word. Demo, thank you, chat. Demo was not coming to my brain. I love it when my brain does that and the word doesn't want to appear. Anyway, I thought they had Dispatch some of the ones in the demos, because I think so. I heard some people talking about the demos and was showing off some like clips of some of them. They basically played a bunch of demos and then were like summarizing. I think this is one of them. So I think it's coming out soon.
Okay, so apparently some of the people who worked at Telltale Studios started this company.
Okay, and it does look like the reason that are also working with it is some of the people that do Critical Role as some of the cast members were voice actors on Dispatch. So I guess they had a good relationship with this team, and I guess they do.
So here's the
Telltale
thing:
style.
It doesn't mean that it's going
I was
to
gonna
be
say a story-based like game.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you could probably, because they're doing multiple projects, I'm guessing one of them could be more story-based and one of them could be more action-based.
Arguably, it does imply that it will have a very strong story, which
True.
I think is a good thing, because this is the thing, just because a game isn't because the Telltale games are literally choose-your-own-adventure story.
Yeah.
So it's not like, and Dispatch has elements of that, although it does look like it has some other elements as well.
Yeah.
It's primarily that kind of thing. So it's like it's
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, and interesting. Okay, so this is what I missed. They're actually doing stuff back and forth too. So the Critical Role people are going to be working on more things like animated series, tabletop gaming, and merchandise for Dispatch, while the company that did it. So basically, like, they're exchanging. Oh, sorry, I'm going to move this over here. I forgot to switch that over. They're basically doing an interesting exchange of the studio is going to be working on some projects for them while continuing to develop this world they probably created. And then the Critical Role people are going to be working to create a more expanded universe alongside of that, which is not necessarily a bad thing, especially like if, you know, you've got a backing of a team that can possibly do that, you know. It'll be interesting to see how these two things develop. I'm curious because, again, that may mean a TTRPG based upon Dispatch is coming out of this through the company and the Critical Role company. Sorry, thank you. Darrington Press.
Yeah.
Took me a second. We might see Darrington Press because they are working on other TTRPGs beyond the one they've already put out, and which is a good thing. Which again, I think is a good thing that they're diversifying the RPGs, the TTRPGs they're putting out. You know, rather than just sticking with one. Looking at you, Wizards.
Yeah.
The fall of the mighty is proved even mightier because they only have one game. Diversification. It's a good idea. So this will be interesting.
Yeah.
The deal and whatever's coming on out of this.
Honestly, and it's good that it's not, you know, like, it's like, oh, this new Critical Role video game is described as having a smaller scope than a AAA game, which is a good thing. AAA games are terrible now.
Yeah, they really are. It's this unfortunate thing that a lot of AAA games are going for more scope than substance a lot of times. And
Yep.
I think that's the important thing is
They're playing it safe.
They're playing it safe, but they're also playing it so, like, mediocre in a lot of ways, which is the safe call in a lot of times. That makes them less appealing than a lot of what, like, smaller development teams are doing now a lot of times. Again, there's occasional games that come out from the AAA sphere that definitely get close enough. Like, side story here for a second. Me playing through the Jedi Survivor game. I see the essence of something that could have been a lot greater here, and it just needed something a little bit more. It's got some really great elements to it, and a lot of those great elements are done by, like, you know, the voice work and acting work of the characters in there. They do a really good job. But again, like, then the mechanics and some of the setting things and some of the stuff like that, it's just not there. And I think it's such a example of the you know, AAA sphere. So yeah, so it's nice to see that, like, they're not aiming for a scope like that. They're aiming for something a little, like, less than.
Well, you also got to remember that it was technically made by Respawn Entertainment rather than EA directly. EA owns Respawn Entertainment, and sometimes you can get those kind of, like, subbed up AAA companies, which tend to be better than the AAA companies themselves. Like, things put out directly by EA, I probably wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole at this point. Things directly put out by Ubisoft, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Oh yeah, no. Most of the time, if there's a game that's someone's done that's in that sphere, I'm also going to wait till there's a sale. I'm sorry, guys. Your games aren't good enough for, you know. If they're interesting enough, when they're on sale, I'll get them. You know? I didn't pay attention to it, but I did hear great things about the 2D Prince of Persia game that came out. But they got rid of that studio then from, I believe that was Ubisoft. So, yeah. Put out a great game and get shut down.
Who is this?
I think it was like a sub-studio of Ubisoft that put out the, like, 2D Prince of Persia game. I heard great things about it. People liked it a lot. But it didn't... I guess it wasn't gangbusters what Ubisoft want, so they kind of, like, broke up the team or studio or something like that.
Again, it's a thing about profit, which doesn't always dictate how great something is. Sometimes, like, it's an investment in something like that, where it's like, oh, this can lead to greater things because it's so highly rated. Yeah, it may take some time to pay off, but yeah, it's like, oh, this quarter didn't make the money we thought it would, so we're going to fire everyone.
Unfortunately, within the AAA gaming sphere, it's a lot of short-term versus long-term profit plans.
Yep. And that's why things are so safe, and that's why everything's so dull.
Bland.
Because it's like, and that's why I don't buy AAA games really anymore.
Speaking of video games, we're getting another one in tabletop form. Do you remember Super Auto Pets?
Also, yes, Telltale were the people who made Walking Dead and those kind of narrative games.
So Super Auto Pets is getting from Flat Hat Games, Super Auto Pets Card Battler coming to Kickstarter soon. I don't know how this is going to work, but I remember seeing some people play this game. It's like 6 rounds where you spend... It's basically like you purchase pets and food that enhance these pets, and they have special abilities that, you know, work together to have powers, and then you go against an opposing team.
Apparently on my wish list. Which is weird because it's free, so I guess I just didn't want to download it.
It may have had a price for a while and went free too. You know, I don't know.
No, I don't think so, because if I remember correctly, I picked it up. There was a recent thing where it's all like, there's like a whole animal Steam sale that happened, and I think that's where I saw it, which would have been only a few weeks ago, because it's also where I got, or like a few months ago. So that's also where I got Snecko Island, which is what I'm playing right now.
Okay. It looks like
Association.
It's made to be 2 players, but I see a star there on the picture. Let me just see if I can get this picture a little closer for the thing for the box. Oh, I know why. Okay, so basically each box is made for 2 players, and I assume if you have a couple of different boxes, you could probably do more than 2 players. There's probably special rules for that. But basically, when you buy a box, it's made for just 2 players. It's one of those. It's kind of one of the kind of those games. It's sort of like, yeah, we're optimal at a 2-player game, so we're selling it as a 2-player game. But if you get more copies, you could probably do more players. And they do a Kickstarter launch page.
Yep. It's
I mean,
linked in that.
it's a cute
And
little game.
Also, that is a
Like the Super Auto Pets, it's cute little animals, doing cute, like fighting, I guess, to the death or knockout. I don't know. Look, it's
Apparently,
it's
there are also cosmetics I just noticed in the game. You can put a chef's hat on a dog,
yes, sounds about
a
right.
little plunger hat on a monkey.
That's an enhancement for that monkey. It now has plunger hat, gives it special ability. That monkey card does something else other than what it normally does. But I think I just remember from watching some people, it was basically like each type of animal had specific rules for what it did or what it enhanced, and it was sort of like you put together your best team that had a number of attacks, and you kind of like battled through your 2 sides. So, it's interesting. It's neat that it's getting a little card game, and I hope that Flat Hat's doing a good job of capturing the feel of the game in tabletop form. So, all right, we got more video game-based tabletop because Doom is coming in 2 board games, done by Modiphius. Yes, Modiphius has announced not 1, but 2 Doom-based board games that they're going to be doing. One based on Doom: The Dark Ages, which came out recently, and the other is Doom Arena board game. Apparently the last one that was done by Fantasy Flight back in 2016. That was a Doom-based tabletop game. So it's a little off, a little done. Yeah. So Doom Arena board game is based on the original Doom, 1993. And then Dark Ages is based on, of course, the latest one.
Oh, it's the... Okay, sorry, I just noticed Doom: The Dark Ages. It's a prequel to the original Doom, because, like, the Doom guy in the newer Doom series is like an ancient person who was, like, frozen, basically.
Technically, no.
Something like that.
He went into another dimension, but he's actually is supposed to be the original guy from the original Doom game.
Oh, really?
Yes. I saw someone talking about this, that basically he was still human, but at the end of the Doom series that originally came out, he ended up trapped in, like, another dimension where he basically got, like, in Dark Ages, they're showing him changing from the normal guy to what would become the Doom Slayer. From, like, Doom guy to Doom Slayer. He had a transition there, basically. And so Dark Ages is that, like, trapped in another dimension where time travels differently, fighting a war against, things, and then ends up back in,
actually,
like, a
that makes sense, because I'm looking at the screen, like the Steam page, and yeah, it's like a sci-fi fantasy almost, where it's like there's like it's like cannons that are just like laser guns.
Yeah,
but
Doom gets weirder, and its timeline is weird.
I love it. I actually want to, like, play through the original Dooms. I played the 2016 one. I need to play Doom Eternal.
2016 and Eternal are supposed to be really good. Dark Ages is okay, from what I've heard.
I loved Eternal. I feel like did I 100% it? I don't think I 100%ed it, but I did do a lot.
From what I hear, Eternal is like the top end of the current trilogy. Like, it's a little bit of a step back for Dark Ages, but it's not. It's still more of the same kind of gameplay. So you're not losing out. It's still a good game, but it doesn't live up to Eternal in a lot of ways. From what I've heard, So, which is, again, not necessarily bad. It's sort of like you're not living up to your prequel, but, that's sometimes hard.
Honestly,
that happens. Missteps happen.
To be fair, my favorite scene in Doom 2016 is that scene where it's all like, okay, now I need you to carefully extract it by cutting the first 2 wires, and then he just punches the thing.
I think the thing is, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are the best games for showing off the Doom guy, and they don't like. They don't do that same kind of good job in Eternal, I think is what people kind of say. Like, they don't have that same kind of attitude of showing it off. You know, that like just his actions are just like wonderful in this. But
because he never speaks, because Doom Guy never speaks, so it's just his actions.
Mm-hmm. So they're gonna be competitive.
I love also
games.
the bobbleheads, how he like fist bumps them.
Yeah, and it's gonna face off either the Doomslayer or the Demonic Hordes and Rip and Tear. So I assume it's probably going to be like at least 2-player, maybe even numbers of players if you can make more than 2 players. And judging it's a Modifius game, it sounds like it's going to be like a mini kind of game, a miniatures battle game. So both of them, just different settings for the miniatures battles game. Yeah. So that seems like an interesting thing that's going to be coming soon. I guess for me, like, because again, Dark Ages, neat. It is the newest one. It's the closest thing to that setting. But I guess like the arena board game is a little bit more interesting for me because it's a little bit more grounded, I guess is what I'm going to kind of put it for that one. I think that's why, like, I think of the two of these, the arena board game is because it's a little bit more grounded. It's a little bit more because it's based on the original Doom, so it's a little bit more just a guy that happens to be like an elite soldier. I think the original storyline is he got got into trouble, got sent to Mars to basically throw because they couldn't get him out of the military because it was like he did it bad enough that they couldn't drum him out, but they wanted to get rid of him somewhere, so they sent him to Mars. And then shit goes down on Mars, and he was stationed in such a place so far away that all he had was a pistol. And so that's why he's going to pick up all those weapons, because he's just starting in the far ends of it. He's got to fight his way back in there because shit's gone down on Mars. And he's like an elite Marine or something like that, but he's just been left out there in the middle of nowhere. I just like that storyline a little better than the soldier fighting its way through armies of hell.
The reason, so basically he was reassigned to Mars, which was supposed to be a dead end thing, where where nothing interesting happened, after assaulting a superior who ordered his unit to fire on civilians. So that's why they couldn't discharge him, because they didn't want to out this guy in his orders. So they couldn't.
It's like
so they sent him away.
It's like, look, man, precarious place to be in the entire thing, so it's an interesting thing. I like it's interconnected. It is a weird timeline. It's just a weird timeline. Dude. So, cool. As I said, I think they're gonna...
I just love the idea that, hell is on Mars. Yep. That's where hell is.
Well... You can go to hell from Mars because there's the borders between reality of hell and our universe is, I guess, easiest to pierce at Mars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think it's gonna probably be like a miniatures board game kind of thing, probably battle game. So neat. So. Moving right along to we've got a couple topics for our main stories today is for age characters, so that's the Green Road Impress system. They got a new character sheet on Roll20. Honestly speaking, that's a big thumbs up anytime I hear about this. There are definitely certain games that I feel like need better character sheets on Roll20.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are doing that. Like I mentioned that, I don't think we talked about it on stream because I found out about it so late, but Traveler, finally, Mongoose actually made a sheet for Traveler, so there's actually an official Traveler sheet.
That's good.
And that was, yeah. So it was like they needed that because honestly the one they had was pretty bad.
Yeah. It's just an unfortunate thing that, again, it's me coming back to, I've always talked about this, especially now that I've actually played about it. I do like Foundry, but there's a lot of stuff that I prefer on Roll20, and there's some times that I'm like, I really would like to keep this on Roll20, but Roll20 isn't caught up on some of the stuff that Foundry can do right now, and I'm like, And then, of course, there's a couple things that it does really well that I really like, and it's kind of like that.
My
can't get the best of both worlds.
Personal opinion, My personal opinion is it depends on what game you're playing on which one you should do.
Yeah.
I actually think D&D is actually probably better on Roll20 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they put so much effort into making sure it's up to date.
I'm sure then all the D&D compatibles would work the same too. Would be probably pretty good over there.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to say there isn't... It's also very good on Foundry as well. I just would say that it seems to be, like... It's just because all the official effort goes into Roll20.
Yeah.
There's a ton of fan effort that goes into Foundry, but...
And again, like, it's... Playing Pathfinder 2e, having compared them on the two of them, Foundry blows the Pathfinder, the Roll21 out of the water right now. You know, it's got a lot of good things set up for it. But again, like, they're mechanically, when I'm playing through stuff there are just little aspects that I prefer the way Roll20 does it, personally, having done both of them. But the thing is, I don't have that option because they don't set it up that way. And also, like, yeah, there's some things like, I never used the Roll20 music track, and using the one in Foundry has been nice. But again, like, trying to, like, find the right balance with that one is not always easy. And then, yeah. There are little things there, too. But I know there's other ones, you know, gotta learn these things at some point. But it's cool. I'm glad that they're, you know, updating their sheets. That, again, this is one of those things is, when you hear someone updating a sheet, that is good. That is a big thing because it means that, like, you know, their stuff works better. You know, granted, might be some issues with the new sheet, but usually they playtest most of those out when a sheet comes out. That's one of those things that you're probably getting it in its new best form. Usually. So. All right. One final thing here, and we're not going to go too deep into it for news, just because I got to be honest. We don't have a Momo here to help us through it, but we can talk about that because there's another codex for Warhammer Grey Knights. I know very little about the Grey Knights. I've heard of them as a group. They're basically, you know, I think Chaos Hunters. It's a codex for Warhammer. And those are pretty big things to talk about because it's, you know, specific rules for these groups. So, yeah. They're basically demon hunting chapter of there. So, yeah, they're specifically that. So, yeah, they are, you know, a much more unique group. And that it's kind of interesting that we're seeing them there. As their own. Again, there's certain groups that I would think they would do first, but I guess there's some good reason to have the Demon Hunters as your rule set for playing them.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, they can't always go for, like, the most popular stuff. If they do, then they never get to the, like, less popular stuff. So it's nice that they're moving things around.
Yeah, true. I can see that. That's not just like another Space Marine chapter. So yeah, I can see that. Like, you know, maybe there's some really good reasons to get this up into 10th edition now. But yeah, so you know, if you are,
well, it's not that it's new. It's that it's a codex. So the units already exist, but now there's special rules for running this group. This group has its mechanically unique rules in the current edition of the miniatures game. So it's sort of like if you could probably already play Grey Knights in the current 10th edition game, but they probably wouldn't have had a unique rule set. Now they have their unique abilities and stuff like that because of the codex. And so yeah, that's just to keep in mind. That's what it means to get a codex. You're getting these are specific rules to this group to play them. You know, so they might be similar in certain ways to some of the other groups. They are basically Space Marine kind of groups, so they probably are similar to other Space Marines. But there might be like little ways that they play differently that make them Grey Knight more than any other group. So yeah, neat to check out. All right. We've been going an hour and a half. We really have been diving deep in here. Do we just want to do our week in gaming instead of taking like another extra half an hour and just push our deeper discussion? Because I was going to talk about some character morality. That might be a pretty deeper topic to talk about. I think we should just push it till next week. Player morality?
character
Player
morale.
character?
Yeah, player character
Like player
morale.
character?
Morality.
Yeah.
That was going to be our deeper discussion topic. Maybe we should push that till next week because we already have to go on an hour and a half. Usually we don't want to go longer than 2
Yeah,
hours.
I have no idea where that's going, so yeah, that usually means it's going to be a while.
I wanted to discuss just to get an idea to think about it for next time. Then I want to discuss how this is the idea of a player, because everybody, when you're doing a player, when you're playing a character, you have a character morality to it. And I was going to kind of discuss the aspects of it, that you balancing it out with the tone and aspects of the game and recognizing where your character's own morality lies within that. So it's sort of like you recognizing the story and understanding, when certain levels of deeper morality can go into of good, bad, cruelty, wickedness, terrible things you can do, various actions that feel more appropriate to a game, kind of things like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. I hopefully summarized that well. I probably didn't.
Honestly, the fact that I zoned out there for a second totally means we probably should not talk about it.
Great.
I get
Let's
where
talk
you're
about
going with it, though. I did hear what you said. I just zoned out there, and my brain just was processed it 5 seconds late.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it next time. Again, this is something I'd probably put it on the list for different reasons long ago, but that when I see it there, that's what I think of now.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's because sometimes I just put something on the list honestly a year ago, and I'm like, that's still been here. We should probably talk about that one. What the hell did I mean by this? Last week we had some great games, didn't we? We had Joe's game.
We did.
Yeah.
Finished that fight. Moved on. Basically, we just finished fighting the thing. It was, they were total dick. But
I
it's
don't-
totally fair because I feel like
I don't know why Joe
It's
keeps giving my character body transformations when he's probably
at this
already.
point it's at this point it's just funny.
It's both funny, but I'm also I don't know what to do about it because if I go by what my character wants, he's beginning to think he's less and less mortal and probably more of a monster. Honestly, it's it's kind of negative for him, and I'm you are driving him to become a supervillain and go evil. He
I
every time
honestly-
this happens, he's less likely to want to do the right thing.
If
There was an
Joe
entire. We had a conversation about morality that the other characters had to convince Bander to still be a good guy. Basically, that was it. That was the entire conversation. It's we should still do good, and he's I don't know if we should anymore.
I mean, to be fair, there isn't really a super good outcome for all of this, but anyway.
I know.
Honestly, if Joe was a better GM, I would think he was setting up for setting you up for kind of a purge at the end, or something, or some way to use all those powers and then purge it from yourself or something. Obviously, he's not going to do that.
I don't know. Because I understand mechanically why he did it. He's you have +2 AC, and I'm I didn't need the +2 AC. My AC sucks, but I was okay with that. I'm not gonna lie.
He sucked, but it's also funny because you also are probably the one who gets hit the least.
I know, that's why it was funny. And I could shield. The shield was the only reason I'm it's funny. I've got the shield. I can avoid some attacks until the guy rolls well.
Yep.
But yeah, no. We finished beating the Dow, and that fight took so long. It took a session and a half.
It was a big fight, and I'm actually down with it. I really sometimes do like those big... It was a big set-piece fight, and I liked it.
Yeah, no, I can agree. It was fun that way. I think it's just one of those things that's it was an interesting fight. I think that's the best way I can say. And now we're in the plane of fire because apparently we found a very easy way to get the plane of fire. I'm down for convenience.
Yep.
And we then figured out how, hey, we can make part of this travel very easily. Great. Down for that too. So interesting. I don't think I did anything tabletop related Monday or Tuesday. Did you?
Nope.
Okay.
Outside of working on I can say I've worked on the Joe's upcoming game, I ended up working a lot on Monday and Tuesday on his on the Foundry character sheet that I'm making for him. Coming along nicely.
Okay,
I just get so I am concerned for his game because it's literally going to be Whiff Simulator for the first few levels.
Yes.
Have you seen the way his game is set up?
I have played it. Now, I haven't played as much as Blaze. Blaze has played it a couple of different incarnations. I think he's updated it since the last time I technically played it. But I don't know how much it's updated. That's the kind of thing I can say, like, I know it is updated since then. But last time I played it was before he updated the hit chart because, mechanically, it shouldn't have worked what happened. Basically, he rolled the hit chart, and a Tommy gun, rather than, like, somehow shot from, like, up to down, and then shot me in the foot 3 times, and shot off my foot.
That can happen, but it is
yes,
not
but
super likely.
it's that would be someone someone would have to physically push it down like that. But normally it like kicks up and stuff like that.
So basically, what would that be? What would happen with that is someone overcompensating for the recoil.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's totally possible, but
it was so highly unlikely and weird, and then like there was a lot of weird storylines, and like I'm not gonna lie, the character was, it was
because like
it was an interesting game. I'll put it that way.
because you can get like later levels to like 90% chance to hit someone, or higher, but you start out with like you start out at level 1 with like a 20% chance to hit, and I'm just like, that is gonna feel so unsatisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, there's definitely anyway, he at least I asked him about that, and he's like, yeah, I know, but the enemy's gonna be the same. I'm like, okay.
I think it's because he's going for clean numbers, and that's not necessarily the best idea. And I
for very linear, like it's very linear progression.
I think it's the thing is,
stuff.
Joe is much better on the world building than he is on the mechanics building.
I mean, yeah. I feel like he does do interesting worlds. I wouldn't, yeah. It's funny. He's good at world building, not super great at storytelling. Like, he's very average when it comes to storytelling.
I agree on that one. Like,
I wouldn't say he's bad. Like, this is the thing. I wouldn't say he's bad at it.
He's not bad.
Very average.
It's a simple okay story, which isn't necessarily bad to play in. Like, we have a fun time on Sundays, but it isn't like gonna blow us out of the way for the storytelling. But the thing is, he does again. He like his setting from like talking to him about it is a very interesting setting. That's good world building that way. But then he's not always the best at displaying that world in the gameplay. And playing with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
he is good at tactics and fights. I do like that. I think he has some of the more fun fights I've had as a player.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. If you want a fun time and you pay attention. Look, I mostly pay attention. There are a couple of times there are things that are happening that I will definitely a little bit like zone out about, but like that doesn't happen a lot, fortunately.
Honestly, I have fun and pay attention. Tantus has fun and sometimes pays attention.
I'm usually pretty good. I mostly pay attention. It's a thing that I've always been kind of like bad at sometimes. Is like it's not that I can't pay attention to when I'm not involved with something. It's just that like it's when it ends up being like a little bit too redundant or like mechanically like something that can kind of like draw me out of like it's a lot of dice rolling Okay, more dice rolling. Oh, you've gone back to story? I missed that, you know? That kind of happened.
Honestly, I felt like his maze dungeon super well done.
That was fun. It was fun.
It was, well, I'm saying the initial part. I loved the fights, but man, it was literally just, okay, you literally didn't include anything except the fights in this dungeon.
I think that's the thing I would have liked after we went through it. It'd been like, I would have liked more stuff to do there. You know?
Yeah.
It was interesting exploring it. The fights were interesting, but when we kind of reflect back on it, I'm like, yeah, we really just didn't do a lot. It was like it reminded me of like some of my older adventures that I like Madison Land when I streamed that, when I had a huge dungeon where there was 1 billion doors that people opened, and there was like nothing behind a lot of doors. So there was a joke. It was a door. There's nothing there. You know, just kick the door open because you don't have to check it or something because you don't have to worry about it. Though again, paranoia of checking for traps on every door is like, you know, that's a fight thing.
Yeah. That's a player thing that I do not have. I'm just like, look, like, you have hit points for a reason.
For me, it's more like, am I in an area where this will matter? If I'm not in an area where I have to worry about traps, I just don't want it.
I mean, the other thing, too, is, like, context clues. Like, if you're in a spy base where everyone's cloak and dagger, yeah, maybe there will be traps. If you're in a cave where someone rigged up a door to, like, a wall, I doubt that's going to be trapped, you know?
Like, I don't think I had, like, any traps in the base you went into in Fall of Abenswell. The first time, at very least. Because I'm like, there really isn't going to be traps in here.
There isn't a reason for it, yeah. But then you had to trap the next time, which caught us off guard. I really liked that, actually. I really liked that dynamic of, something's off here. We didn't figure it out in time, and it was great.
You left. Days went by. They showed back up and found everybody dead there, and they were like, "Well, this place is compromised. Let's like set things up."
Yep. No, and it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
For there to be traps there the second time, because they're like, "Okay, we're gonna booby trap it for the people if they ever come back." It's totally something people do.
Yeah.
It's like actually a war tactic. Like, when you leave, you booby trap where you left, so if people follow you, they die.
Yeah. So yeah, we did have Fall of Abenswell though, and you got into town.
Fall of Abenswell.
You kind of I feel like because mechanically I wanted to do things a little differently, I'm not 100% happy with how some of the things went, but I think it went all around okay. I kind of wanted a little bit more mechanical, because I did not inspire because there was a lot of like stress in town, but you know, you are the guys that left and came back alive and have tales to tell. You know, there's probably rumors going around about you and your heroics, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
what you actually did isn't really like spread, but certainly speaking, like, I'm like, yeah, you could probably inspire and like, you know, lead some troops here, as much as like I wanted you involved in kind of like running it, but it was hard like kind of figuring out how to mechanically doing that, because like I didn't have a good idea.
Yeah, you definitely would have wanted to. If you had brought that up to me, I might have been able to give you some resources I know about for like those kind of big troop movement type stuff. Mostly, what is it? What's his name? Not Mark. Matt. It's a Matt, but there's a ton of Matts who do D&D stuff.
Is it Matt Covell that you're talking about, or enough for Matt?
Matt Covell, thank you. Yeah. Matt Covell has a book that I probably could have lent to you, which is it's more for 5e, but honestly would work for Pathfinder, which is for like war stuff and troop movements.
Yeah, I think like I wanted to keep it. It's like I both wanted something, but also to keep it simple. That's not an easy thing to do. I think it was fine. You know, that's what it is. I think if I had come up with something a little bit better, or like had spent a little bit more time thinking about it, it might have been a little better. But I think it was fine. You kind of like inspired some decisions, and things happened, and I kind of know where things are going to be at the beginning of next session. So like, you know, this is the, at very least, the first assault they're making on the walls. You know, they've softened you up for a couple of days. Now's the first assault, and now you're trying to hold it off. And see if you can like drive them back, at least for now.
Yep.
So
we rolled terrible on their You had us roll for their assault, and we rolled great. And then we rolled for our assault, and it was...
It was okay. Like, you did roll well enough that I'm like, you took out 2 of the 4 towers, so, like, you will, like, you have enough troops that they will probably hold the thing and those towers may fall, but you will probably lose some resources that I'm, like, vaguely measuring. I'm not, like, exactly measuring things, but I'm kind of keeping track of, like, when negative things happen, you know, to, like, kind of know how things are faring, you know, the city.
Yep.
Which, you know, again, you're at that level that you might be able to do things to, like, either inspire or rally things to that if you wanted to. So, like, I will also leave that open to, like, you know, to make decisions, you know. Like, if you survive this one and you do drive them back, if, you know, like, maybe, like, there are things you could probably do to rally parts of the town, or maybe to help out with the troops or something to, like, you know, get them, you know, back in a better shape than they are. You know, that'll be kind of up to you.
Yep.
Decisions. I don't think I had anything else tabletop related this week. Do you have anything else?
I had the game this week.
Oh, that's right. You had the game today.
The game today.
Yeah.
I said this week. I meant this day. Oh,
Yeah.
today. Last we ended on us retreating out of where we are. Basically, we're in this, like, we're on a planet with, and we mostly just talk. We did a lot of talk and prep, and then we went back down, and after the first half, we went back down and did a bit of combat. Well, we're just trying to get back to where we were, because we spent a day, because recovery in, because to recover, you know, for the higher level spellcasters to actually recover their spell slots, they actually had to take a full day to, like, rememorize things, you know? So yeah, because it's 10 minutes per spell level. So, like, you know, a 5th level spell takes 50 minutes to rememorize. And so the higher level casters, yeah. But yeah, we talked a lot. Basically, the big thing is that so we're trying to kind of figure out what's going on here, because there are ruins on this planet. So it's like a planet that for a long time has been considered basically a Bermuda Triangle, where people, like, don't go because they disappear. We get there and we find out that there's signs of 2 gods. One is Rao or Rawa. Anyway, it's we are in gray space right now.
Okay.
So we're in Gray Hawk. Rao is I think it was like Rao or Rayo. I've heard both. Like, both people are pronouncing it differently in the game, so I'm not sure which. And then there's Tharzadoon, who is basically a kind of destroyer of everything kind of deity who wants to destroy everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's basically signs of Rao, and it seems that Rao was being used as a front for Tharzadoon cult, for whoever originally colonized this asteroid, and but now it's, like, fully infested by undead. So we have no idea what's going on. We basically just discussed that, prep to go back down, and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Cool.
So we did a lot of theory crafting, but
Neat. Sounds like an interesting time. You survive. Whee!
Oh, and sorry, just more of a fun thing. So I was going around one side of the building, the group was going around the, so me and a few other people were going around one side, and then some others were going around the other. And while they ran into a brick wall, they decided to break it down, knocked down a whole wall of the building, which landed on me. On the other side of the building. So I think I was the only person to actually take damage from it, and I took 8 points of damage with my 22 health.
Ouch.
And then I immediately rolled a 1 on my attack roll afterwards, so I'm just like, yeah, it just knocked me flat, and my missed my shot.
Interesting. Well.
It's a fun little happenstance.
Well, that looks like it was our week then. And that looks like it's our show for today. We went about 2 hours, so I think it was good that we cut off. It ended up being like a lot of like. There was a lot of topics, but there were a lot of topics that had a little bit of like meat to them. I think is the way we can look at it.
Yeah, they had a lot of implications and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. So, you want to give your shout out? Why don't we
about
do
Warframe, which I can talk about for probably too long if I need to.
Nah, it's fine.
I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky, and DiamondWyrm9234 on YouTube. Next stream on Twitch should be tomorrow at beyond 10:30 a.m. PDT.
Okay. Myself, Dracovin. I'll be back possibly on Tuesday. I'll let people know. I might have something to do family related on Tuesday. If I don't, I will hopefully be very close, if not done, with the Star Wars game. If we finish the Star Wars game, which is like right at the end, then what we'll do is we will kind of discuss what my plans are next for gaming, for the gaming side of things. And you can always check out the rest of my tabletop related stuff, which is on Wednesday, Thursday, Fall of Adam's 12 Wednesdays at 8, where both of us are going to be in that. And of course, make sure to join us next week for more of this, next Saturday at 6 EST. I hope you did enjoy diving into all these interesting topics. It was a really good little bit of news. So, anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend, rest of your Saturday, and until the next time, look at all of you out there. Great farewell and goodbye.